Yesterday I was out at the cemetery, and there's people that live there. They had a homestead nearby. Like we were talking about, people didn't live that far from the cemeteries. But this homestead was like 2 miles away from the cemetery. But it was in the woods there, the cemetery, and then the homestead site. I had found it last year, so it was kind of neat to go there and see the actual people buried there of the homestead that I found last year. That was pretty cool.
Oh, sweet. But
yeah, a lot of these cemeteries, there's so many layers of history. It's really hard to pinpoint who's from where, what town they're associated with, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
We were just talking about which one, at the Tucker Hill Cemetery. That's a pretty cool one, up in Croom.
Yeah.
What do you think that was associated with, like the town of Croom? Because that was by the town of Croom.
It was definitely, by the town of Croom, but it could have been possibly residents of Pemberton Ferry.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, more likely that, being that it was a lot of those graves date from the 1880s and stuff, which is when Pemberton Ferry was kind of around, and because Croom.
Yeah, because before that time, that was the town of Pemberton Ferry.
Yeah.
They would use the ferry to cross the Withlacoochee River there. So you had people that lived in the community. It's hard to pinpoint the exact town site. But it's a big area. If you look at maps, it covers a big span.
I was thinking yesterday, Joe, I was thinking too how we've read that Pemberton Ferry became Croom, and I was thinking, well, was it really the exact town site, or was it maybe Pemberton Ferry just a little north of Croom?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, how did that happen? Why was there a name change if it is the exact same piece of land?
Yeah, I don't know the exact history. I might have known at one time, but I can't remember why they named it that Croom. Why they changed the name, because it changed from that to Croom. And also the town of Oriole is right by there. It's all kind of confusing. They all kind of lumped together.
But things change through time, so right now these towns that were called Croom and Pemberton Ferry, it's now Brooksville. So,
oh yeah. That's true. Imagine how things will change 100 years from now. You were just saying about Fitzgerald. That's another town name associated with Croom. So this whole area, the history here, it just kind of comes together. All these different towns. There's different names, but it's all in the same general area. And we're hiking to a cemetery right now. We were just discussing the cemetery existed around the time of the town of Oriole, which was also nearby here. But there was people that were buried in the cemetery before that town was here. So were they associated with the town of Pemberton Ferry at that time? That's what we were just talking about. And that's kind of interesting to think about the history on this area.
And we'll see. We're heading right now to the town of what was Oriole, and within just a 2 or 3 mile radius was Oriole, and we had Fitzgerald, and then Pemberton Ferry. This cemetery could have been associated with residents of Fitzgerald, or as you were mentioning, Pemberton Ferry.
Yeah, it's
because it's just a 2 or 3 mile radius, and towns. We all grew up in towns that were 30, 60 miles wide. You just don't have towns that are just little areas of just 2 mile radiuses. So it's really hard to...
Back then, the towns were really small. I mean, they were just communities. They weren't really towns like you think of today.
True.
Even back in the town of Pemberton Ferry, it was really just a bunch of community, or people that lived out here in a community. They traded with each other. They had farms. They had crops, ranches. And I actually learned they traded with the local natives in the area, too, before the towns of Croom and Oriole. These people lived out here. Look at this. We're walking along this old path here. Slow down a little bit. Another thing, when you're out here hiking, you're going to take your time, enjoy the scenery. But we're just taking it all in, all the history. We kind of forget about the beautiful scenery. Look at this. We're standing on this road here. It might have been a road in the old town. And could have been a tram as well, but it's kind of elevated here above the surrounding swamps. Really beautiful. And you can see the dark water line. The water gets up here during the rainy season. I'm sure we'd be staying underwater right now. Pretty cool, huh?
That's rad.
I'll take the camera this way. You can get a better view of the water line. I'm talking about the watermarks.
Which are very high.
Look at that. You can see them over here, but better over on this side behind me, I think. Look at this. You can just sense the history here. You're taken back to another time.
Are you filming too? All right. Joe's got his camera on. I've got mine.
So
And,
we're at the cemetery here. Here's the gate. And you have to,
how did I get in here last time?
on that side there.
Oh, we're just pulling open.
So we're gonna go into the cemetery, check it out.
All right, I'm excited because I haven't been here in a couple of years. And you were here like 6 months ago?
I was here several months ago. And I always enjoy visiting this place. So there's a overgrown path here that leads. Yeah, there's an overgrown path here that leads back to the cemetery. What do you think of this tombstone here? It's a Woodman of the world. They're always fascinating to see out here.
Yeah, I love seeing them.
This one here is, this person was born in 1884 and passed away in 1917. Woodman of the World Memorial.
You know, a little piece of history about these. I think it was like in the 30s that they stopped doing these because these headstones just cost so much money. Because if you were in like the fraternal organization of the Woodmen of the World,
Yeah.
you would get this memorial like this.
Okay.
And it just became such a large amount of money for them to make these because you can see they're beautiful and huge. It was something
Yeah.
that they stopped, I believe, in the 30s.
It's really nice. I mean, look at the craftsmanship in this. You know what's neat about tombstones? I saw one, 'cause we both explore turpentine history. I saw one, they had, the tombstone was the shape of a cat-faced tree
Really?
with a hurdy cup attached to it. It looked just like that. And it had the cat face on it and everything. And it was an
Wow.
actual tombstone like this. So,
Very interesting.
and I think the gentleman that was buried here worked in the turpentine industry in the area or something like that. That's why there was a dedication to him. But it's always cool to see these different tombstones like this. A lot of the modern ones aren't as, crafted in such a way like this. So when you come to these old cemeteries, it's neat to see the old tombstones if you're lucky to see them. Because unfortunately, sometimes they get damaged, vandalized, people take them. It's always sad to see here. We take pride in this cemetery here, even though it's overgrown, but we both come out here, we cherish this piece of history here. We always like to come back and check up on it and experience the history
Yeah,
here.
and as you were saying, both of us, this is one of our first explorations and finds. So this place has a special meaning to both of us, I think.
It does. It was one of the first cemeteries I came out to find here in the woods, and it inspired me to learn about the surrounding history. And I thought to myself, there has to be more sites like this throughout Florida to be uncovered, and that pushed me on. And it really did. So I'm thankful to have that experience and be able to come back here and see it still today. And I hope future generations can have that same feeling to come out here and experience that.
And just in case they're not able to, it's great that we're documenting places like this.
I know.
With our cameras and to let people know that these things were here at one time,
Yeah, awesome. Let's look around the cemetery some more. Check out some of the tombstones.
Yeah, little Joe was born in 1886 and looks like he passed away in 1888.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite graves here, Little Joe. It's an infant grave, and we find a lot of infant graves at these cemeteries, and people always ask, why there's so many infant graves? Well, back in those times, it was a hard life. You had influenza, and the survival rate of infants wasn't very high during those times. So you'll see a lot of these infants in grave sites like this. So this one here is one of my favorites, Little Joe. Damian's getting some photos and video clips.
Joe, get out of my picture.
I'm getting in your way here. So take a look at this grave here, Elizabeth Giddens. It's one of the original settlers of the area. Many know this as Gideon Cemetery.
Yeah.
1849 to 1876. Imagine living during those times, how different it would have been back then.
Yeah, Giddens was a big family here. Over in Ridge Manor, there's like this actual cemetery called the Gideon Cemetery.
I've heard of that. I've actually never been over there, and that was always kind of confusing to me when I was researching this and that cemetery, because they kind of come together.
So I'm sure it was a big family out here, and that cemetery has no headstones.
Doesn't?
Yeah, there's none. but it's marked. It says the Gideon Cemetery, and it's just a little piece of land. And I don't know how many graves are back there, but I think they found it as that area was going to be developed. There's all houses and stuff there, and I guess they found out, or someone said, "Hey, there's graves under here," and they stopped and they made that part. Actually, it's like a little park, if you will. You know, it just. But yeah, there's all homes, and then there's boom, that little piece of land that says the Gideon Cemetery.
You can see some infant graves over here, 1904 to 1905. (1902 to 1903). We were just talking about some music stuff and going to concerts and getting backstage and getting to meet some of the bands. You talking about Kiss? You said you can pay to have them come to your house.
Yeah, I think.
Didn't you pay to have him come, Gene Simmons or something, come to your house?
I wish, yeah. $5,000 for Gene Simmons to come to my house. Yeah, he played bass, I played guitar. I had a little party. Some close friends of mine came over and hung out.
So
good time.
So people can pay money and they come to your house. That's pretty cool. You got to be rich.
Yeah, if you got the money, hey, money buys everything.
They have this thing I've seen where you can book online to have different celebrities and stuff send you a personalized message, like a video. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have seen that.
You pay money, and there's all kinds of them on there. I think I've seen you on there. Damian from On the Move here, you pay him a certain amount, he'll send you a personalized message. I'm just kidding.
Out here in the woods, I will.
No, but seriously, they have a thing online, and you can, big celebrities, everybody from YouTubers to people being on TV, musicians. And they're all different fees, of course, based on their status. But you pay this money and they send you a personalized video, happy birthday or whatever you want. I thought that was kind of cool. So you're a musician yourself, right?
Yes, I dabble.
I've seen you play. You do your lessons, of course, but also played in bands. I mean, extremely talented. It's an honor to even be out here with you in the woods. Walking with you, man. So, what's going on lately with your music?
Let's see. Musically, I think I'm going to be starting to record a solo album. The time seems to be right now to do it. So, and I'm thinking about doing it actually in my own home. So right now I'm looking at purchasing the right equipment to record an album in my home. And this spring, the plan is to return to Belgium and perform there. Actually, maybe do like a guitar clinic.
Wow.
So those are the things that are in the works for me with that, and continuing doing guitar lessons and working on my next full-length guitar course on jazz blues.
That's exciting.
So lots of things going on. And that's why it's so important for me to come out here in the woods and just collect my thoughts, or say we're walking out in trails like this, I'm out here alone, and it gives me time to just think of all the things that I'm planning or that I want to do. And that's one of the things that I love doing out here alone while hiking.
You're totally right. Being out here in the wilderness inspires you. It frees your mind and it just opens everything up for you. It really does. And that's why every time I can, I'm out here exploring. And
you can really let go of yourself.
Yeah.
And you can get those creative juices flowing in my brain. So that's one of the things that I love doing out here. But also, like you, I love doing these videos out here in the woods because I like to inspire people to get outside.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, your videos are very inspiring. I hope that mine are, because so many people nowadays just work 9 to 5 and get their entertainment from just watching TV or watching sports, or maybe going bowling, or going to the movies.
Yeah.
Or,
and they get wrapped up in all that stuff.
There's so much more to do. Get outside, get some exercise. We're not supposed to be under these fake lights all the time in our homes or in an office. Get outside, breathe that fresh air, take a hike with the family, see the wildlife, see the different ecosystems Florida has, get into looking at the wildflowers of the region. There's so many neat things to do out here and get inspired with, it's just, you're missing out if you're not outside. And that's why I love kind of doing videos of hiking and camping and exploring historic things. You know, just like stuff you're doing. I mean, you're out, like myself, right? Every weekend, we're out doing videos and we're having a freaking ball.
Oh yeah, it's great to be out here, and you're so right. You draw inspiration from these places, and you just need to come out here and get a break from it all. That's what I do. It's a start over when you come out here. You can clear your head. It's freedom out here. I remember when I first started exploring too out here in these woods, doing these videos, I thought to myself, I felt like a kid again out here. That freedom of being a kid and just going in the woods and roaming around. And there was that feeling that I got coming back out here hiking. I was like, this is amazing. You forget those things as you get older. And I think it's important, like you said, to tap back into that primal sense of we're not supposed to be indoors under fluorescent lights all day long and behind computer screens. We need to be out here appreciating these wild spaces while we still do have them, because they're disappearing every day. So cherish them while we do have them, because there could be a time where we want to come out here and enjoy these places and we can't.